got your back.
Something on your mind?
Okay, so I think I've established the characters for my novel. I know you're supposed to write a little yourself into the work, so I've made myself the beautiful princess trapped in a lonely tower by her strict and unstable father. I even made you a character too. I hope you don't mind. Anyway, the plot follows our princess as she wishes upon a dying star, asking the divines to cure the ailment of her dying sister. When, all of a sudden, a handsome knight comes riding to meet her. What? No, you're the lovably quirky yet undeniably clumsy chambermaid.
Why a chambermaid?
She wasn't always a maid. Back before her accident, she was a legendary sailor and a treasure hunter. The entire kingdom knew of and adored her adventures.
Accident?
Oh, right. Forgot to mention her backstory. She nearly drowned at sea before being rescued by her crew, and ever since then, she's been terrified of the open sea.
Well, it's your story, I guess.
Right! So, the knight informs our princess that a cure exists for her sister's rare disease, but it rests on an island riddled with pirates and cannibals. The king forbids our princess to go, but she sneaks out anyway, with the help of the chambermaid, and plans to sail off and find the cure and... well, that's all there is at this point. I know it's not much, but what do you think?
Why does the king forbid her to leave?
Well, after his wife died, the king went insane. He believes that medicine such as the cure is witchcraft, and that only the gods can save his sick daughter.
Yeah, right. Why does the chambermaid set sail if she's still terrified of the sea?
Out of love for the princess. The bond they share is so robust that the maid is willing to help confront her greatest fear to help her.
Think it's a good start.
Thanks. The coast out here works wonders for inspiration. I think I'll have more ready sooner than expected. Maybe sometime later. All right then. Yes? I've finally gotten around to writing your character's first scene. Want to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
Well, just before the princess and the chambermaid can set sail, they're confronted by the captain of the king's guard. Having caught wind of the princess's plans, the captain tries to stop her, but the chambermaid steps in and challenges him to a duel.
Okay. There's a fight?
Exciting, right?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Thanks. I figured as much. I think packing the first chapter with a lighthearted scuffle is an excellent way to keep the reader from losing interest. At least until the characters are compelling enough to carry the story on their own. Anyway, the maid manages to hold her own for longer than expected, but the captain soon gains the upper hand. During the fighting, our quick-thinking princess boards the ship unobserved and takes off. Realizing his mistake, the captain rushes to find a boat to pursue her. In the meantime, the maid runs along the dock, and after some hesitation, she jumps into the water and starts to drown. The princess rescues her, and then there's this heart-wrenching scene where the maid tells the princess that no matter what, she'll be there for her. That's what I have so far. What do you think?
It's excellent.
Thanks. I'm glad you think so. Sure.
Need some more time to write?
Yeah? Just, progress on the book is all.
What's the latest?
So... The princess and the chambermaid sail far from her father's land. Of course, the maid stays below deck of fear of the water. The princess, however, is astonished. She gets to experience the adventure and excitement of the outside world in a way she never could while trapped in the castle. And it's every bit as magical as she thought it would be. At least, at first it is. As they near their destination, the captain of the guard and his small fleet begin to close in. And then, just as it all seems hopeless, guess what happens?
I have no idea.
Come on, guess.
They're saved by pirates.
Oh, wow. Good guess. A band of opportunist pirates unleash oblivion on the incoming ships. The captain orders his sailors to retreat, but our protagonist's ship is capsized. Once more, the princess saves the maid and swims her to the safety of a nearby island.
How helpless is the maid? She keeps getting saved by the princess.
Patience. Her time to shine will come. The story isn't there yet.
Okay.
Okay. What do you want? Not really. And that's kind of the problem, I guess.
Writer's block?
You could say that.
What do you mean?
I've run into a bit of a barrier between me and the next chapter. You see, every part of the protagonist's journey, I've been able to experience for myself. Sailing away with a group of strangers, excessively controlling parents, even running away from my responsibilities back home. It allows me to better understand their motivation and flaws. But this next part is different.
What responsibilities did you run away from?
My parents own a velvet weavery and dye works in High Rock. They were more than insistent, to put it lightly, that I take over the business when I came of age. I spent most of my teenage years locked in a room studying ledgers, market patterns, and everything in between. I guess the isolation made me a more proficient writer, but I can't help but wonder what a normal adolescence might have been like. Needless to say, it wasn't the future I wanted. On the day that I was to take ownership, I hopped aboard a caravan en route to Skyrim. I haven't been home since.
You ever miss home?
Of course! I miss how the corners of my room used to close in around me, while my head spun in circles trying to remember the price of yellow dye and elsewhere at 8:03 on the 13th of Frostfall. And I miss hearing my mother say that I would be the first in 5 generations to bring the family's business to shambles. I miss how my father would pretend we weren't related when the merchants came into trade. And above all, I miss those damn ledgers.
Alright. Must be something you actually miss.
Camila, my baby sister. That's pretty much it. She's the only thing I've ever considered going back for. My parents wasted no time making her feel my responsibility. We still write to each other as often as we can. I even sent her a rough outline for my book so that she'd have something to read aside from those ledgers. Of course, Mother found it and took it away. I guess she didn't want me to be a negative influence. I can't wait to hear what Camila thinks of the book when it's fully published. I hope it will provide an escape, even just an imaginary one. Of course, I have to finish it first.
How's the next chapter different?
Well, I want her ship to wreck on a desolate island, much like ours has, only this island is overflowing with barbaric cannibals.
So what's the issue?
The island that they crash on is the same one that the knight told them about, which means that this is where the curse is, and it's being held by cannibals. To get it, the maid and the princess must disguise themselves as locals and go undercover. The issue is that I've never done anything like this before. The thrill of stealing from ruthless killers, the adrenaline of wondering if your disguise is convincing enough to pass. I want to be able to describe those experiences accurately, so I came up with a plan.
What's the plan?
Well, obviously there are no cannibals on this island, right?
Right.
I was thinking that the village outcasts are the next best thing, and I happen to know of a cave where the few of them reside. All we have to do is sneak in, steal something valuable, and sneak out.
When do we leave?
Whenever is best for you. That outcast encampment isn't going anywhere.
Alright.
Uh-huh.
Got a snake. This might be bad. I got two here. Oh. I don't think I'll be very good at sneaking. Put on a disguise. I put that stuff in there myself. All the bodies are gone, are they? Any of these bodies still around? I suppose if we went back to the ship, two of them followed us back to there, didn't they? I think all the bodies are gone. Well, not the this one. Right, good enough disguise. I wonder why that other quest is put in the miscellaneous ones and not the main quest thing.
We'll need a disguise before we get any closer. Here, put this on.
Alright.
Right, this'll only take a second. Well, don't stare, weirdo.
So, I've got a disguise. Okay. Alright.
Just waiting on you. Alright then. Okay. Deep breath. Just pretend like we're supposed to be here.
Hold it! What kind of village trickery is this?
Why?
You ain't one of us. I would know.
What a strange accusation, fellow outcast. But what makes you think that?
This some kind of jest? Why'd you bring her here?
She was expelled from one of the villages. She wants to be inducted.
All right. But keep a close eye on her, and don't let her anywhere near the chief's jewel.
Can't get through the door. For some reason. Right.
Well, that was easy enough. Thanks.
What's next?
Did you hear him say something about the chief's jewel? I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty important. And that's what we need to steal.
Where do you think it'll be?
Maybe near a throne of some kind? I don't know. If you were a chieftain, where would you keep your jewels?
Somewhere up high, perhaps?
That's a good speculation. Let's take a look.
Use a bit of clairvoyance. Well, that's not working.
That was exhilarating! Did you see the looks on their faces as they discovered the gem was missing? Oh, I could think of a million descriptions.
It was kind of hilarious.
There were a couple times I thought we were goners, but it all worked out in the end. Oh, and Dova! I don't know of many others who would have risked their lives to help me with something like this. I guess what I'm trying to say is thanks. Ooh, what do I get?
Ah. You are, that is the, that's your normal hair.
Ooh, what do I get?
That's what I gave you.
All right then.
Ah, that was the elder I killed. Because he was sacrificing villagers to appease Dagon. What are we doing here? Information to counter the reaping.
Go away!
You're right.
Right! Ingvar also go left! Silly, stupid intruder! Go away! Let Ingvar focus!
Alright.
Okay. It can leave now.
It's your book I'm after.
Tell Ingvar why! Oh. Tell Ingvar why!
Okay. Oh my god, stop.
Shall we get moving?
Let's train.
Sure, I'm always open to improvement. I look forward to it.
Have you tried reasoning?
Always the hard way.
Could have been worse. Die already.
Maybe on this side.
I thought they were ugly when they were alive.
Oh, Warden showed up. I don't know what the ancient bones are for, but probably used in some recipe.
Hello. Maybe sometime later. All right then.
Let's finish training.
Excellent. Let's not delay. I look forward to it. I see. I look forward to it. I see. I look forward to it. I see. I'm glad that's sorted. Remember when I made mention of an alpha gate? Sure.
What's the holdup? I haven't had a nightmare in a while. And it's getting easier. Coping without the liquor, I mean. I had doubts initially, but as the days go on, I'm beginning to think this might just be possible. It's as if I've thrown aside the crutches I so heavily relied on, rediscovering a degree of control over my life I thought had been lost forever.
You stopped drinking.
I've given some thought to what you said. It hasn't been an easy process, but I suppose healing rarely ever is. Still, I am fortunate to be surrounded by a strong group of companions who've supported me along this journey to recovery.
It's good to hear.
Somehow I feel memory manipulation wouldn't have benefited me in the way I had hoped. By permanently cloaking my problems, I would only be incapable of growing from them. Were it not for your counsel, I'd have made that irreversible mistake. I'll never forget that.
And then you might have repeated this mistake again.
Dragonborn? Maybe sometime later. Sure.
I think you're following. Yeah.
Keep an eye out for Daedra. Remember when I made mention of an alpha gate? Of course.
Yeah? Alright, what have you got? Alright then.
You shouldn't be so bold.
The hell?
The advantage is mine. I thought they were ugly when they were alive.
Where bat?
I've got your back. I had a thought this morning. A twist that the story desperately needs. There is no cure on the island.
Why wouldn't they be?
Well, I'm thinking maybe the knight from the beginning sent our princess on a fool's errand so that he could claim the throne without complication. All he'd need to do is overthrow the Mad King and disperse of the princess's sickly sister. There would be no one to stop him.
How much rewriting will that take?
A fair amount, but that's hardly unexpected. Any writer worth their craft plans for these sort of hiccups along the way. The first draft should be unrecognizable from the last, after all. It's just, now that I'm reevaluating from the top down, I'm starting to question the final chapter. I'm stuck on the ending, and more importantly, I'm no longer sure if it would be happy.
Why not?
There's a very real possibility that we won't make it home. And if by some miracle a handful of us pull that off, I don't think we'll be better for it. The book is meant to mirror my own experience, and, well, it doesn't look like a happily ever after will be in a chapter in the story of Tio Aldo.
Don't count it out yet.
Yeah, I suppose not. Sometimes, I wish life played out like a novel. That by the end, we'd all learn something about ourselves and life would go back to a better version of the way it was. But I guess that's why we have fiction, right? To distract us from the bitterness of reality. Listen, I'm sorry for getting off topic. I just have a lot to think about, I guess.
No, we have fiction to make it possible to believe in a happy ending in real life.
Searching for something? Remember when I made mention of an alpha gate?
Yep.
Why are you looking at me like that? Did I do something unpopular again? So soon?
Afternoon, Dover. Farewell.
Yeah? Then, something you need? I've thought up the ending for my book.
What is it?
Tell you what, get us home safely, and you'll have a chance to read it for yourself.
Well, think of it this way, if we don't get home safely, none of it matters, does it? You out of that now?
I've got your back.
Yeah.
All right then.